Welcome to Beyond the Breast, a Momcozy guide to pumping and weaning. I want to do a quick little survey. So Brianna, you said it would be a great question to ask. So let's ask them which kind of stage they're in.
Yeah. You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. I just thought can you hear me? Is this better? I thought it'd be helpful to know, well, what stage you all are in. If you are currently nursing, if you are planning to wean anytime soon, if you're back to work and you're pumping. So if we can just kind of do a show of hands for each. So anyone who is currently nursing.
Okay.
Awesome.
Raise them high. Be proud. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And then who is back to work?
Okay, we got a few
Awesome.
mamas.
Are you currently pumping at work? Awesome. Okay. And then who is planning to wean soon or hoping to wean?
Honey, she said me.
Okay.
Right here.
The babies usually have other plans, but good luck.
We'll get into that in a little
Yeah.
bit. Okay.
Okay.
You haven't even got there.
That's okay.
And then
That's
who's
still good for you.
pregnant? Who's pregnant? Okay. Yes.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Okay.
So I thought we would do a fun little icebreaker, and then I'll introduce myself and then officially introduce Brianna. But the icebreaker is if you could describe your pumping journey in, actually, as a Disney movie, what would the title be? So I'll give you a few so you can laugh a little and think about it. So Finding Nemo, because your pumping parts are always missing. Who can relate to that? Right? Frozen, because you're drowning in bags of breast milk. Mm-hmm. Who's that? Or Hercules, because it feels like you're moving Mount Olympus when you pump, right? She's standing right over here. What about Inside Out? Because you're feeling all of the emotions all at one time while doing this. You could relate to that as well. I think that's like all of us all the time, right? And The Incredibles, because you are saving the world one pump at a time.
Everybody can relate to that one.
Everybody can relate to that. Anybody want to throw one out there of a fun movie title that would remind you of your pumping journey? It doesn't have to be Disney. It could be anyone. Go ahead. Beauty and the Beast. Ooh, tell us about that.
Because it's beautiful, but
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Back here.
my boobs felt like balloons.
Balloons.
Oh, that's
So,
great.
could that be like Titanic? We're like trying to float on.
Right. No, Up is the movie.
Oh, Up is the movie.
Yeah. It's the balloons carrying the house around.
Oh my gosh. That's great. I love it. Well, thank you for engaging with that fun little icebreaker with me. And if you have babies, don't worry if they're babbling and doing all this. We're up here. We love babies and we know kind of how to navigate. So it's all good. We're all, Momcozy family in here. My name is Natalie Goucher. I am a mom, and a mom of 4 children, actually, a wife, and I also have a community called New Narratives, and it's all about helping mothers break generational cycles, create legacy in their homes, and do parenting a little bit differently. And so I do play dates, I host events with Momcozy, lots of things for personal development for moms. So if you want to connect with me after, I would love to connect with you. And I have the pleasure of introducing a dear friend of mine who was also my doula 2 times for my last 2 children. So I'll give you the official bio, but just know she's really, really awesome. So meet Brianna. She is a birth and postpartum doula, certified lactation educator, and the heart behind Kaleidoscope Mama. How many of y'all can spell kaleidoscope? Quick. Ooh, we're doing spelling bee. No, I'm not gonna make you do it. She was ready. So Brianna has 2 children, and she uses her lived experience mixed in with her breastfeeding experiences and postpartum recovery to help support her clients. She's passionate about making this journey feel less overwhelming and more empowered, offering real, relatable insights to meet parents where they are. So Brianna, is there anything else you want to share with us? Give us a fun fact.
Ooh, you did this last
I
time,
did
and I didn't
last
have
time.
one. Fun fact. Okay, the only thing that comes to my mind when people ask me this is traveling. I took a backpacking trip through Europe by myself in 2013. This was before I had kids. And then I did it again for the first time 2 years ago to Japan. This is after I had kids. So it's a fun fact because it just was 2 different versions of myself kind of exploring and all that good stuff.
Love it. And on that traveling note, we're going to talk a little bit about pumping while you're traveling. So if any of you old ladies love to travel and get around, you don't have to not do that because you have baby. We have some options for you, and Brianna's going to give you some great tips to be able to do what you love and still continue to produce milk and all of those amazing things, right? So before we get started, Bri, I would love to just hear and have you share a little bit about your experience with pumping and some of the things that the ladies here are dealing with. So if you'd like to share with us how it was maybe when you went back to work or anything you think will be valuable.
Yeah. I feel like I can relate to this topic a lot because after I had my daughter is now 9. I have a 9 and a 7-year-old. So I was in the trenches for a while. And I nursed both of them. My daughter was nursed for 14 months and my son I nursed him for 2 years.
Ooh, can we all give her a round of applause for that one?
It's hard to wean the boys. So when I went back to work, I think my daughter was like 3 months, and I went back to work a new job, which was a great transition into a new workplace, but also very stressful. And I remember before I started the job, I talked to the VP of HR, and I'm like, hey, I'm actually pumping all the time. And so she's like, oh, no, it's fine. We have a pumping room for you. And so it was an eye-opener for me because I had never been in such a supportive environment, especially like a workplace that was very supportive. And I think it had a lot to do with the fact that she herself was a mom of 3 boys. So yeah, I pumped every day. I think I pumped like 3 times a day. People got used to seeing me in the kitchen rinsing my pump parts. And then it would just be funny because they would try to start conversations like, so how's it going? And I'm like, I'm just pumping. It would be like a random guy that's like, so anyways, I have a lot of experience when it comes to just trying to navigate that and integrate it into our everyday life. And my hope is to share some tips that make it a little less overwhelming and stressful because it definitely is and feels like a full-time job. So.
How many, if you are pumping or have pumped, can relate to, I didn't even finish and they raised their hands. They said, yes, it is a full-time job. So this is actually a great segue into the next portion, which is, can you just speak a little bit about kind of the emotional toll that sometimes pumping can take? And can we normalize that it is an emotional journey and just help share some tips on how we can navigate that process?
Yeah, absolutely. I think anytime through the postpartum period, whether it's the first 2 weeks of postpartum or 4 or 5 months later, sharing your body and it's a big commitment. And so normalizing that, first off, that it's a big commitment, that it's a lot of work. And then also just giving yourself grace. You're going to hear that word a lot throughout this session because I feel like a lot of the things that we are committed to and that require a lot of us require a lot of grace, and for you to just take it one step at a time. And this is also advice she gives me outside of like, just give yourself grace. Like, I'm like, okay. So that's going to be my paying it forward to you all is giving yourself grace and just taking it one step at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time, one session at a time. I work with parents sometimes that as soon as they get home from the hospital, they're like talking about pumping. And I'm like, you don't have to do any of that right now. All you have to do is like relax, heal. You're a princess right now. Yes. Don't even get out of the bed if you don't have to. And just feed your baby directly, unless they have other feeding goals. And then I support those as well. So yeah, just taking it one step at a time until you actually have to engage in that next phase of the journey.
Definitely, because it's a lot, right?
Yeah.
It's very different than just nursing directly.
Yeah, it is.
So let's talk to the moms that are going back to work. Okay. And can we tell them a little bit about what would be a sustainable pumping process? And if you can speak to maybe some of the anxiety that might pop up as well, if you're thinking about going back to work, if you've been nursing prior to.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that in itself is a very emotional and stressful transition because you're used to being around with your baby every day for this stint of time. And then you go back to work and you're separated and you're worried about your supply. You might be worried about what you have stored. If you weren't able to store something or have an excess amount of milk saved left over. So just, again, giving yourself grace. I feel like that journey is going to look different for everyone individually, depending on like what your life looks like. So I could say, wake up in the morning and pump before you go to work so that you have a few hours before you have to do that again. But if you have another kid, like that just can look very different.
Right.
So I think playing around with different ideas of what that can look like for you, whether it is pumping before you go to work, whether it's prepping the night before and making sure you have everything set, and just being very upfront with your employers and letting them know, like, this is what I'm committed to right now, and this is kind of what I have to like steal away from. You're also going to hear a lot about me talking about Momcozy's products, because I feel like they were created with these type of things in mind,
Right.
these type of scenarios and challenges. And for instance, like when I was pumping, I didn't have a hands-free pump. They maybe had just come out with, I can't even
They
remember.
weren't the ones that I did try years ago. They weren't really great.
No.
They actually left me very frustrated because they didn't pull out the milk, and I
Yeah.
still felt engorged. Do you remember we went on a birthday trip for me to the desert house?
Yes.
And I was pumping, and my boobs were hard as rocks. Like if we can just be honest here. And so the Momcozy ones, I didn't have the opportunity to try, but I know you have some clients.
Yeah.
And what have they said about being able to like pump on the go, how it actually leaves them afterwards?
Oh, I think it's like a game changer for them. I think one of the things that one of the moms mentioned at the last workshop here that I didn't even know, I agree. Yes. You can actually manage the settings differently on each one. So say you have an underproducer on one breast, you can have that.
The lady called it a slacker boob.
Oh, yes.
Did anybody have a slacker boob?
There's always a slacker. There's always a slacker boob, and that's okay. There's nothing you're doing wrong. But yeah, so for like, I know with the medical grade or hospital grade pumps that we used when we had our kids, they came with one setting, and you're like, good luck, I'll just sit here and pump for 25, 30 minutes and hope that I, get a nice amount. Momcozy actually has where you can modify the settings on each breast pump. So that's new for me. Yes. I learned that, and I was like, oh my gosh, now I'm really gonna try to promote it because you could you're on the go.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Definitely, once we're done, feel free to come up here and touch and grab and look. And we also have a consultant that you can talk to if you want to learn more about the product. So please don't be shy. We're in the showroom, so definitely get any questions answered that you have about any of the products.
I have a question. I'm sorry.
You have a question? Yes.
Yes.
Go.
Does anybody have the hands-free pump?
Oh, wait, hold on.
Amazing.
How many? 1, 2, 3, it's like 5 of you.
Do you all like it? Is it like, have you noticed, or actually, I don't know if you have anything to compare it to, but has it been really like helpful in your journey?
Does anyone want to just share really briefly for some of the other ladies that are here that may be interested in using it? I can pass the mic around.
Hi. I was actually just telling someone earlier that the Momcozy, like the hands-free ones, are really beneficial for if you have a long commute or driving. It's just so much safer to have that as a pump and not have like the traditional flanges sticking out. Yeah, so that's my experience with them.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Anybody else want to share before we move on? Oh, here we go.
Sorry, Nat, I'm making you move.
That's okay. That's my workout for this morning.
So I started, this is baby number 2. So, with the second kid, you don't have time to really pump. So my husband would take care of him, and I would like put my daughter, my firstborn, to sleep, and I would pump while I was putting her to bed. So that was really helpful.
Amazing.
To have the hands free. Yeah.
Mamas, we are always multitasking, aren't we? We're doing all the things, so that makes it so much easier. Go ahead, you want to share something else?
Oh, no, that was okay. Yeah.
So can we talk about the scheduling of that? Is that going to look different for everyone? What do you recommend if someone is working or starting a new journey, what that schedule should look like?
Yeah. That's a great question. I do think that it does differ depending on the person and their schedule. I would honestly tell people to start doing that before they go back to work so that it's not like a big surprise for you. It's not like you're learning how to do this and what's normal while you're at work and then creating something else for you to panic or stress about. So kind of creating some sort of routine while you're at home, and that can be sometimes I tell people to kind of mimic how often your baby was eating. So sometimes babies are eating like every 3-4 hours, then you can do that depending on the baby's age. And so, for instance, when I pumped at work, I think I was doing every 3 hours, and then I think I kind of stretched it out to every 4. And sometimes I'd be in the solo office, like working still while I was pumping. Again, I didn't have a hands-free model, so it was a little bit tougher, but yeah.
Okay.
Does that answer the question, or do you want me to go a little bit?
I think that answers the question.
Okay.
So for the mom who is worried about their supply dipping after they get back into a regular routine, is there some tips that you can offer for them?
Yeah. So supply is an interesting thing because I had a postpartum mom recently, and she was all over TikTok with she just was like, I got this oatmeal, I got this cookie, I got this drink. And I'm like, ooh, okay. So they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do by like pulling you into these things. A lot of the times, the main 3 things I'm going to talk about is stress, making sure like your stress is low, because if you're stressed out, that can affect your supply. Staying hydrated. I'm going to always encourage you to stay hydrated, and making sure you're eating. All of those things are like the most important components of just your production and your supply. Babies feed, or our bodies develop off of supply and demand. So however often your baby is eating, it's telling your body, okay, we need to produce. You're like, I'm taking this in because it's your first baby, right? Okay, cool. And so that's what we're kind of doing when we go back to work. We're kind of still, now the suction of a breast pump is not going to be as strong as the suction of a baby on you, and they use different muscles, and it's kind of just stimulating, different things, but it definitely helps. So just kind of creating a schedule where it's every 3 to 4 hours to maintain a supply. I would say for sure at least 2 to 3 times in a work day if you can, depending on what that looks like for you.
How many of you all have heard about those different things that supposedly will make your milk supply go up? So I'm really glad that she brought that up, because at the end of the day, she's saying take care of yourself, drink and eat, and try to keep that stress level low so that you can continue to pump and produce milk when you're maybe not away, or when you're away from the baby, okay?
I want to say one more thing, I'm sorry. The other thing that I do, if I do have a client who is struggling, whether it's with their supply, or if it's with the baby's latch or anything like that, because all of those things can affect your supply. A baby's latch not being strong enough or effective enough could affect your supply. So I usually always will recommend to see a lactation consultant. And that's someone who is more clinical. I'm not clinical. I can teach it, I can show you, I can help with latch. But if there's anything more complex or physiologically wrong, like a lip tie, a tongue tie, they can diagnose those things. And even if there aren't super complex issues, I think having someone assess and just watch and make sure that you're doing everything correctly. I had a mom who was having a hard time. This was her second baby, and her nipples were flat. And she knew that. She knew she was going to have like a hard time doing that because she had already experienced it. And so we talked about, before she had even gone into labor, we talked about collecting colostrum. She wanted to try that ahead of time. She had nipple shields, and then come to find out, when she ended up bringing in a lactation consultant, and they recommended 2 different nipple shields for her boobs. And that's something that I couldn't have assessed because I'm not savvy, and that's a little bit more technical, So just something to look out for, that it's a lot of pressure, and it's not always you. Sometimes it's just something beyond our visible eye,
Yep, so don't be afraid to ask for help, and to really get curious about what's happening, and not blame yourself for what's happening. So I want to move on to something that we don't talk about a lot when we talk about pumping, and that's the milk management. We hear about the parts, and we hear about some of that part, but what about like milk management? Can you tell us about how we're supposed to store it, how long it's supposed to be out, all of those things?
Yes. I feel like this is sometimes this information is a little subjective, because I'll give some like information about it, and then someone else, like a midwife or a lactation consultant, will be like, actually, it's okay, the baby can have that. I'm like, well, better you say it than me. So I'm going to give you the information that I give clients that is pretty much what you would get if you Googled it yourself. So usually whenever you pump, you're always going to, say you're pumping at work, you're going to either have a bottle that you're storing it in, and then cover that, or you're going to have the bags. When you transfer from the pump or whatever you're pumping from, you're going to write the date and the time of it, because whenever you do feed your baby, you want to give your baby the oldest milk. And so some people who are like freezing their milk start from the oldest. If you're refrigerating it, It's good for about, I want to say 4 days in the fridge, 4 hours room temperature, and about 6 months frozen. Some people say a year frozen. It really depends, but nowadays we're saying 6 months. So, but yeah, so usually if you're pumping room temperature, 4 hours, within 4 hours, baby needs to drink. If the baby puts their mouth on the bottle, they have to finish it within the hour. Now, this was a controversial one. A midwife was like, no, they can finish that. Don't waste that milk. And I'm like, she told you, not me. So I'm going to tell you within an hour after the baby's mouth was on it, then you have to discard. And no one wants to discard breast milk.
No, not the
So-
breast milk.
Do you have experience with that?
Well, I've been told 3 to 4 hours, but if that's an hour, then that's
3 to 4 room temperature?
room temperature.
Yes, so 4 hours room temperature, but unless they put it their mouth?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But if it's an hour, then.
No. See, but it's okay. I've literally had medical professionals tell me that that's fine.
Yeah.
Then
She's just giving you the extra safe version.
Yes, you're
but
not
we-
doing anything wrong.
Right. And listen, we recognize that sometimes things go a little bit longer than, so we're not saying like right at the 60-minute
Yeah.
mark. Do you know what I mean? So kind of be flexible, but also keep that in mind as well. But don't stress yourself, okay?
Yeah,
Don't stress yourself.
Don't. You're fine. Okay, I promise.
So let's talk about transporting. If we are transporting milk, what kind of conditions does that milk need to be in for it to be safe when you are sharing with the baby later on?
Yes, so you, after you pump, ideally keeping it refrigerated, and then when you're ready to, commute, I got this nice big bad boy here that I'm gonna show you guys. One of my clients had these, and it's a cooler that you can transport your stuff in. I'm gonna put this down for a second.
good.
Just to show you guys. Yeah, it's great. So it's just a, I forgot it comes with stuff inside of it. Thank you. It comes with the storage bottle, so if you wanted to store your milk after pumping in it, it fits 2 bottles, and it's basically a cooler, and it keeps everything chilled. So super convenient. I had a client who had all Momcozy stuff, including the bottle washer, sterilizer, the cooler, and so super efficient. But the best way is to keep it on ice, basically, so that it stays chilled, and then transport it either to the fridge or the freezer when you make it home.
And if anyone has any questions about any of this, we are going to take Q&A after, and then of course we have a consultant here that can give you like the real nitty-gritty of each little product if you want to know any specifics, okay? Here's a good one. How many of you all have heard that it's not good to shake your milk? Have you heard that? So tell us about the swirl, Brianna. Yes, swirl.
Yes.
Everybody do the swirl.
That's always a question I get with clients also, is why can't I shake it? So with formula, we shake it because we want to mix it really well. With breast milk, we recommend to swirl it just because to keep all of the nutrients intact, because there's enzymes. It's basically like live, what word am I looking for? You want to make sure that it keeps its nutrients. By shaking it, you kind of mess it up a little bit. Breast milk also tends to separate, so a lot of the fatty contents rises to the top. You'll notice that if you keep it in the fridge for a while, you won't really notice it too much in the freezer. So in the fridge, and then the bottom will be much more liquidy. So when you are swirling it, that tends to help it kind of mix together also. So yeah. Okay. No shaking, only swirl, gently swirl. Sometimes it's easier to do that also after it's been warmed up. Yeah, I feel like that's something that gets lost in translation a lot during the postpartum journey, because people to remember, like, I'm just mixing it. Why is it any different than when I'm mixing formula?
So tell your spouse or your partner or the person that's helping you not to shake up that milk. Okay?
Yeah.
Show them swirl. Everybody do the swirl. I want to see the action. Yes, let's do the swirl, everybody. Wonderful. Okay, let's talk about the pumping toolkit. What are the must-haves to have in the toolkit?
Yeah.
Can we go back before you go
Yeah.
there?
Yes.
Because you mentioned in the very beginning of this conversation traveling and going
Yes.
somewhere. Like,
Yep.
what is the best way to, you're pumping, are you gonna have to throw some of that milk away?
We're gonna get to that.
When you freeze it? and all
We'll
that
get to that. That's a little bit like a few
Okay.
questions
Oh yeah,
down.
this
but
is
we
gonna go right into
go
that.
right into the travel
Yeah.
part. But thank you for asking that.
So toolkit?
Toolkit, yes.
Yeah, so for the toolkit, a lot of the things, when I think about a toolkit, I think about a lot of the products that we've kind of talked about. For instance, the cooler. Oh, the cooler, the hands-free breast pump, anything that is creating ease in that entire journey, in that pumping journey. Storage bags, bottle warmer, which Momcozy has too. When you guys are done, I do encourage you all to go around and just like look at these things, because they literally have everything that you need to create a kit, or a bottle washer and sterilizer. I don't recommend traveling with that, but it's something to have at home just to create more of a hands-free experience, so you're not constantly washing or drying or sterilizing.
That was actually my next question, is how do you manage? Because when you're pumping, there are several different parts, and the reality is like we don't want to have to wash every single one by hand, which is why this, does come in handy.
Yeah.
Or you could just tell someone else to do it.
For
And
sure,
you still
absolutely.
be the princess after, right?
Yeah, another thing, I think Momcozy actually has some wipes that, yes, and I think that is super helpful when you are out, when you are traveling, whether you're at work, whether you're traveling by plane or whatever, having those wipes to wipe off any like leftover residue, and then just washing your parts in like warm soapy water. Did this go off? No. They're like, they're like pumping wipes. They kind of clean off the residue, the milk residue. And then just cleaning with soap and water. A lot of people, when I first started, hello.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, when I first started, I used to always stress to people, like, you have to sterilize your stuff. Again, another subjective topic where people are like, just use hot water. Usually people will just soak it in something, in like a tub of soapy hot water. Huh? Oh, I thought you were saying something. Yes, yeah.
Listen, if you're like me, once you get to the third or fourth kid, you're like, they'll be all right.
Exactly. I literally had someone tell me that a lactation consultant told them as long as they put the used pump parts in the fridge, like refrigerated
it doesn't
then
make the bacteria get in there.
Exactly. There's no bacteria growing on it, so they just use them right after that. And I was like, that's smart.
That's what I'm doing, so I hope that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
We hope so too.
And I'm learning as I go too. Like, I'm taught one way, and then I go and work with other people that do things differently. And so there's no like one size fits all for
Right.
this. What works for one person, you might find a shortcut that might work better for you.
Yes,
So.
absolutely. And again, let's talk about the grace, right? So
Yes.
in the pumping toolkit, there's the cords and the flanges and all of these things. But ultimately, what is the number one thing that you have to give yourself?
Say it with me. Grace.
Grace.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, grace. I think that was at the top of the list too.
Yes,
Before all the other stuff, grace, patience, flexibility, knowing it doesn't have to look one certain way every single day. If you are an hour late pumping, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. So,
Yes. And if you are engorged by any chance, there's the massaging
Oh, yeah.
tool. I don't know if it's over here somewhere, but
yes.
this was so great. If you do skip a session and you feel, like the boobs are getting a little hard, this is fantastic. And it doubles as a massager. I was making my husband massage my neck with it too. So, you can do double duty with it, but it kneads and it goes in circles, and it has a warming feature. So it's really fantastic, even to get yourself ready before you pump, so that flow can get going. So again, check out all this stuff when you have a moment. So let's talk about how a mama can be organized when traveling. So we're back to that topic, because we're still living life, right? We're not just stopping because we have children. So give us some tips or some hacks while you're traveling. I know we've talked about it a little bit, but if there's anything else you'd like to add to that.
So I can answer this a couple of different ways. There's traveling while pumping. Is that kind of what you want me to? Okay, cool. Because usually if it's like nursing, I'm like, nurse the baby while you're flying. But we'll talk about traveling, which can be kind of stressful, especially if you're traveling with breast milk. Sometimes they're like, usually they're okay with it, but you have to like prove yourself to TSA.
Do you know the TSA guy dipped his finger in my milk one
no, he
time.
didn't.
In the milk. Because this was, I guess, a time where like the security was really high, and so they had to make sure it was not something else. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, that shouldn't happen now. But I just had to share. I was mortified. Absolutely
Yeah.
mortified. Yeah.
Finger gonna do?
Yeah, what is it testing for? So weird.
I mean, waterfall or something, but don't.
I don't know.
It's okay. Making sure whatever this trip looks like for you creates ease. That's also another thing I'm going to stress is ease. Making sure everything that you need, like your hands-free pump, is in a carry-on or something that's easily accessible. Nursing pads. You might not need the massager. You might. A nursing bra actually, you don't need the nursing bra for the hands-free pumps. The cooler, everything that would go in your toolkit would be something that I would incorporate in a travel routine also. I have moms that will pump while they're on the plane, and they literally can just transfer it to a bottle.
Yep.
Sometimes this either should be frozen or cool, and then you can have some ice packs in like a travel bag with that. Is there anything specific to travel?
Yeah, I'm thinking specifically like your baby's not with you.
Oh, yes.
How do you do it?
Perfect.
All it is the milk. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, obviously, you have to pump to keep up
Yeah.
the supply.
Yeah.
But some of this milk is not making it.
For sure. That's
You
true.
know, that's what I'm thinking. And then I wanted to go back to what you were going to say about, breastfeed while you're on the plane. I want to hear all.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Give it to us all.
So
Yeah.
all the tips and secrets.
Okay. Well, one of my tips that I always tell people who are planning to travel with little ones is to nurse them at takeoff and landing. It kind of creates a little bit of comfort just in case their ears.
When
Exactly.
their ears are popping.
Exactly. So always, if
good.
you are traveling with a baby, whether they're small or a little bit older, as long as even if it's a bottle too, that can be helpful also. We can't just be like, here's some gum, chew that. And then as far as the pumping, it really depends on like how long you're gone. Because I'll be totally honest, I think when my daughter was 9 months, my husband and I decided to go on a super delayed honeymoon to Cancun, and I was on a catamaran with rocks, okay? I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, and so when I got back to the resort, I had to pump, but because the breast milk is good for a certain amount of time in the fridge, there's a lot that I don't even think I probably took any back. Honestly,
Ooh.
You're like pumping and dumping, and that hurts.
Yeah,
Can
and
we-
It's like when you freeze it, once it's out the freezer, it's still.
You have to use it within a certain amount of time.
While we're talking about traveling and being on vacation, can you talk about pumping and dumping? Do you have to do that if you have a drink or a margarita or something like that? Does anybody,
guys are putting
is
a lot of
anybody
pressure
curious
on
about
me.
that? What is your
I'm gonna
take
be totally
on that?
honest. They have these like test strips. They're not Momcozy yet, but that might be something they want to dab into. I went to a wedding one time. I think my daughter was like 4 months, and I think I had like 2 or 3 glasses of wine, and I
She's
remember
lying. She had 4. Just kidding.
probably 4, probably. And I remember having the alcohol test strips and trying it, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's in there. And I didn't have a hands-free pump. I didn't have this hands-free pump or any type. I had one of the manual ones. So I'm like literally using my hand muscles to manually pump each boob, and I had like 6 ounces each boob. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna cry because I dumped it. And so in those instances, I'm gonna be safe and be like, yeah, after I pumped and dumped it, sure, I went home and like fed my baby after that, but that milk to me didn't make me feel comfortable
Right.
feeding her. Now I also have moms that might have a glass of wine and nurse, and they're probably not getting much of anything with one. So it's really, yeah.
And then it's like, what is the time frame though? Like, okay, I drank this 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago.
Oh, you're like at that point. 3
Yeah, I
hours.
think you're, yeah.
How do you know it's not going in, or you know what I mean? Like, what's the time frame of what you consume versus what your baby is going to?
Yeah, that's a tricky one because I want to say like it will be gone by then, but also if you're not releasing anything, where did it go? You know? And so what I could say is you could express for the first 5 to 10 minutes of that feed just to get some out, and then you can nurse your baby, and that will probably create a lot less of anything that's in there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. All right, let's transition into weaning. And again, if you have questions, we're going to do Q&A after, so just keep that question handy. But let's talk about that portion. So once you're done nursing or you're transitioning back to work and you decide, well, maybe I don't want to do this anymore, what does that process look like?
Leave the house for 3 days. No, seriously, that's sometimes if that's a realistic thing for people, kind of separating yourself a little bit. I've had moms who went out of town for a few days because they needed, not that wasn't necessarily the only reason, but it helps to decrease the supply because nothing's being drained, so nothing's going to keep being produced. But also when your baby's with you and around you and they're constantly tugging at you. I have moms who are still doing it past 2 years old because it's just like, this is their comfort. Like, this is how
Can
they fall
anyone
asleep.
relate to that? Who still has a baby that's like, you're not getting me off the boob?
It's really hard. It's hard. So another realistic thing I would say is usually to try to just start with removing one session. And sometimes I think the hardest one is the nighttime because that's the comfort session. We sometimes, I know for me, I created a sleep association with my son to where I was like, here, as long as I can get some sleep, he was sleeping.
Because
and
it just made things easier to be
super
able
easy
to do that.
Yeah, but it also made it hard also when it was time to wean because now he had a sleep association to me nursing him. So what we started doing was I would, when he would wake up, my husband would just take him to another room or take him downstairs and sleep with him there. And I think creating a little bit of that separation does help with decreasing and diminishing your supply. And of course, there are other little things that you can try. I feel like the longer you go, the less engorged you're going to be. Like, I feel like if you've been nursing for a year or more, you're not going to get as rock hard because your baby is usually on solids at this point. So they're not eating for nutrition. It's usually just like a comfort thing for them.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about how we gradually like take sessions out?
Yeah.
So that you don't get engorged.
Yeah, I would start with depending on how often you're doing it, you could start with one daytime session, but I think that nighttime one, I feel like I would start with nighttime. I feel like nighttime is the hardest, so I would kind of start with the nighttime and then gradually reducing the daytime sessions. And then at some point, you just go cold turkey. I think for me too, this is a little bit of an overshare. With my son, I ended up getting thrush on my boob, which was super uncomfortable. And it's kind of like, because I was nursing him at night and like he would fall asleep like that. And so it created, that moisture kind of created like a rash for me. I wanted to rip my boobs off. Okay. So I said it was an overshare, but that was that was how I stopped. I was like, oh, you're absolutely not touching me again because at this time he was 2 years old. It was mostly comfort. Yeah. And when he was getting sick, that was the only way that I was getting him to eat. So this is going to vary depending on each person, each baby, and your comfort level with that detachment. Some people are ready to be done with it, and some people are like, it is a very nostalgic and sad transition too, which I know we'll get into after.
Yes, well, that actually was going to be my next question is, what would you say to the mom who's like, I'm kind of tired of doing this, but I also love that I get to do it and I'm nourishing my baby, but it's also time to be done. Just talk to us about like those range of emotions that come with that.
Yeah, I mean, just giving yourself grace and honoring all of those emotions that come along with it. But also, I think when you know, when you know you're done, I think that it becomes much easier for you to just kind of discontinue that whole thing. And it's sad because some people are doing it for 3 months, some people are doing it for 8, some people are doing it for 12. Like, however long, it can be a very emotional experience. Right. To discontinue, especially if you're like, this is my last baby. Yeah. I still look at pictures of nursing and I'm like, oh my gosh, I miss that. No, I don't.
You're like, not actually.
Sometimes I miss it.
Yes.
I love watching my clients feed their babies. Like, it's something where I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this connection, look at this bond, look at this, like, something about a baby swallowing their food source. Weird, right?
It's amazing that we get to give our children something that comes from us and we're able to nurture them and help them grow. It's actually pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Bless you, sweet pea. So I think this would be a great time to transition into some Q&A. And we can start to pass the mic around. First of all, let's give Brianna a huge round of applause. I want everyone to say thank you, Brianna.
Thank you.
So she's happy to answer any questions. There's no question that is too ridiculous. Please feel free. I mean, the reality is, where else can you go and get these questions answered? Sure, you can go to TikTok, but they're not like a lactation consultant like her. So if you have a question, go ahead and raise, and we'll just walk on over to you.
So I just read something the other day saying, like, true or false, you can't give your newborn water before 6 months. So I don't know how true that is, how false that is, and what the reason is behind that.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna stick with the true. We don't want to give them water before 6 months. It's been like a universal rule, I guess, forever. But I think the way that whatever they need from the milk that you give them, whether that you are nursing or not, is exactly what they need. And so even for instance, if you choose to do formula, they want you to use like distilled or purified water when mixing that, and then formula containers will tell you to like boil the water. So they're just very particular in how we are feeding the baby. And I think it's mostly just for safety measures. And then of course, after the 6 months, they're like, sure, you can do that. But your breast milk, most of the breast milk is made of water. So technically, I wish I could give you a better answer, but it's just, yeah.
I just wanted to know if it was true
yeah,
or not.
Yeah, don't.
And on the topic of formula, I wanted to add, because we were talking a lot about nursing. There is certainly a part about giving yourself grace too.
Yeah.
And if in fact you need to supplement, do what is best for you, right? If you are like overly stressed and you're not producing, sure, you can try to find ways to still be able to do that. But if in fact you want to add that to the routine, don't be ashamed of doing that. You ultimately, the baby needs to be fed, right? And so
And you need to be happy and comfortable while you're
during
on this
process,
journey too.
okay?
Yeah.
So no shame in that. I think I saw 2 hands back here, so we'll start right over here and we'll just work our way back.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I have a question just because it's in the bag that you gave us, so thank you. I think you talked about it in terms of traveling.
Oh, yes, the wipes.
Yeah, the wipes. Can you just talk through like how to use it? I'm so used to using the machine.
Yes.
That I'm not like comfortable yet with like how does this work?
Yeah.
And then another question that I have is, are you able to combine breast milk? So I'm pumping and nursing, but when I feel like we've used up so many bottles that are in the fridge right now. So I heard you earlier say we could use the storage bags for there, but can you mix milk from the same day? Like if I pumped this morning and when I go home and pump, can I combine all of that in the same bottle?
Yeah, because it's within the same 24-hour period. So yes.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you plan on freezing that? Or
No, like it depends.
But
like,
you'll
right-
use it within the next few days.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's fine.
Amazing.
Yes.
That's gonna help a lot.
And then can you talk about how to use the
Oh yeah, the wipes. So usually, I love the bottle washer. The only thing with these are if you're home, you have a lot of bottles, and you just sometimes it can be a lot if you're pumping and you need those pump supplies that are in there, because that can take anywhere from like 20 to 40 minutes, or actually 60 or 80 sometimes, depending on if it's on like all 3 settings. So I love it for a good overnight session, but if you're pumping regularly, it might just be a lot to kind of keep up with. So if you're traveling, those wipes will come in handy, if you're at work, having those wipes there too. I would wash all of the pump parts with soapy water, and then I'd probably go through it with that also.
So that's more of like a disinfectant.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a disinfectant. I need to look at the actual package, but I know there's something in the ingredients that helps to remove the residue that breast milk kind of leaves left over. And then there's all these like small little crevices and different parts of the pumps that you have to like take apart. And so being able to like get inside of those with something that helps remove that can be really helpful too.
One last question before I give the mic over. I heard you say like pumping every 3 to 4 hours. So during the day, I'm breastfeeding, but then like pumping as well.
Yeah.
But at night, I'm usually going like longer stretch of like 6 hours.
Sleeping?
Well, with like pumping, like I'll pump at 9 and then again at 3.
Okay.
But I'm not breastfeeding at night. We feed her a bottle at night and then I nurse during the day. So is that problematic to go like 6 hours without?
Not if it works for you. Like if your supply is okay during the day. How old is the baby?
How old?
Yeah.
6 weeks.
6 weeks? Oh,
Yeah,
it's only
she's-
one. And how's your supply during the day?
I mean, I usually get between like 3 and 4 each breast.
Oh, that's
Like
good.
3
Okay, and then how many ounces per feed would you say the baby's drinking? About like 3?
She's like 3 ounces.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, it really depends. I feel like, and the baby's not waking up during that 6 hour stretch.
Shh, no,
Get your sleep.
She's sleepy. Yeah, I know that.
Get your
Trying.
sleep.
What's your name?
Jenna. Jenna.
Jenna.
Jenna, yeah.
Okay, everyone say, Jenna, get your sleep.
Yeah, literally. I know.
Yeah, that's great.
You have to be whole in order to function and
Yeah.
do the pumping and the taking care of other kids and doing all of these things. So, honey, get your sleep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Good.
whenever there's a baby that's probably 4 weeks or younger, depending on what their birth weight was, and then when they go to like that 3-day first week checkup, the doctor will say, oh, babies maybe lost 10% of their body weight or more. And then that's when they're like, make sure you're waking this baby every 2 hours to eat them to get them back to their birth weight. But if your baby's weight is fine, the pediatrician has no issue with how long you're feeding or not feeding for, and your baby's sleeping, that is amazing.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you're not doing anything wrong.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Who else
Thank
has
you.
a question? Just pass it on back.
Hi, everybody. My question was about whether or not you experienced any biting while nursing. And if you did, what did you do to stop it? Because my youngest two really are, they were doing the most. I mean, he just turned 9 months, but my 2-year-old, both of them, he's just started biting me. And so I tried to kind of deter him from doing that by separating my nipple from his mouth with my little finger, or like just pushing my thumb in there, whatever my reaction is in that moment. But do you have any advice on biting and how to stop that from happening?
Unfortunately, I don't have any advice on stopping it. Are they biting during the feed, or are they just pacifying? Because if the baby's just feeding on you as a pacifier for comfort, then I'd say, are they on do they have a pacifier that could kind of, and are you like against that? Because if you're against that, that would be the next thing I'd say is, some babies have a very high need for suckling, and a pacifier kind of helps that. Now,
None of my kids have taken pacifiers.
Okay.
I was really confused as to why.
That's okay.
All four.
Mommy's the pacifier.
After I think about the first or second week, he's doing it now generally towards the end of the feed.
Okay.
So I mean, maybe I should then stop earlier.
Yes.
You can see that he's no longer drinking as much, and it's more like he's playing around.
Yep. That's what I would say too. I would say he's telling you he's done.
Because he's smiling after he does it, and I'm screaming. So, yeah.
It could be a sensory thing for that word.
True. Like wanting to bite down, because he's teething at the same time. His teeth just came out a week ago, so.
And
All
so,
four in
like I
one
said,
week.
when you know, you know. If you might know.
Yeah.
That was my cue. I'm the wrong person to ask, because once my son bit, I said, we're done, honey. We are done with it.
That's what my mom-in-law told me too. I was like, I want to do it for longer, but yeah.
I think it just kind of comes with the territory, and they get so comfortable being on the breast that all of that stuff ends up coming out at some point. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And do we have two more? I think I saw some
And
more hands.
my son lovingly took that off. I'm not sure where it goes.
Great questions, by the way. Great questions.
Hi.
Hi.
So I just reached the 3-month mark.
Congratulations.
And I noticed that my son is nursing like shorter periods of time, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I know that there's like something called like a 3-month like strike or something. Is this like true? Like, if so, like what should I do? Should I pump after the feedings now, or?
Does he take a bottle?
He does take a bottle. I kind of have to like force it to him.
Yeah.
But he does take a bottle.
Okay. If he is having shorter feeds and you feel like you still have milk in there, I would encourage you to pump maybe for like 10, 15 minutes after. And how frequent are the feeds? So say his feed is 5 minutes, how frequent is, or how much
So
after
I've been
that?
trying to nurse him like more often. Like I'm trying to do like every 2 hours now.
Okay.
Versus before he would be like 2 or 3 hours, and he would nurse for like 15 or 20 minutes, but now he's down to 5 minutes or 10.
So maybe you can stretch it a little longer again. Maybe you can go the 3 or 4 hours again, and maybe
Okay.
he'll eat longer. That's what I
Okay.
would kind of recommend
Okay.
to maximize that feed, so that you don't have to add another pump session, a nursing and pump session, and then everything that comes along with that. Is he? Do you think he's hungry when you feed him for those 5 minutes, or is it just like?
So I do think he's hungry. The only thing is I noticed because since he's like he's older, he's like he's looking around.
Yeah.
He's playing with my necklace. He's very distracted now than what he was before.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say maybe to push the feed out and see how that looks for both of you. Yeah, that would be my advice. It's just make it like maybe 3-4 hour mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I do have another like random question.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can answer this or not. So I have like an MRI coming up in a couple months. And I've been told that you can that you need to pump and dump like after the MRI based on if you're getting like the medication they give you to
Oh yeah.
like the contrast or whatever. Is this true? If you know it, or
So I'm not 100% sure. It
Sure.
sounds, and I say that because I don't know the process of like the MRI process.
Yeah.
But if there's a medication involved
Yeah.
with that testing, that makes sense. I would say to definitely ask. I would ask the pediatrician and your doctor.
Okay.
And tell them I'm exclusively nursing. I would recommend to like pump before those that date also, just so you kind of have what you need before, and you're not stressed out, and you're just taking care of yourself that day. But I would definitely ask the doctors.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sounds good. Thank you. It's no worries.
We had a question right back here and then right over here, so we can pass it back here first.
Yeah.
We'll make our way all the way back around.
Hi. So I wanted to ask if any of you were familiar with dysphoric milk ejection reflex, because that is something that I experienced when breastfeeding/pumping with my first. And it was really intense. I was only able to breastfeed/pump for about 3 months, and then I had to just completely stop and switch over to formula. So now that I am pregnant with baby number 2, I do want to try again, but I'm just kind of scared with like the emotions that comes with it, because it's definitely something I don't want to experience again, but I do want to just come more prepared, because I know that there is very little research on it, and there's, from what I know, not much that you can do about it. Some things I've done that did help a little bit is like chew on ice while I'm pumping, but yeah, it's very intense and not a lot of people talk about it, so just wanted to see if that was something that you guys were familiar with.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. I will say prior to like this year, I was not hearing about that at all. And I want to say I've started seeing a little bit more of it. So I'm not super knowledgeable with it. I do know that it's like intense emotions during nursing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to do more research on that before I give like any feedback on it. And so I also want to get either your information or you get mine, just so I can send you some resources. Because it's not something that I know. I can't guarantee that it would or would not happen again for the second baby. I don't know if that's something like that just happens whenever you start producing or nursing, So I do want to send you some resources on that, okay?
For sure. Thank
you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Okay, hi, thank you. I don't know if you have a good answer for this. I think it might just be like one of those questions where you say, oh, whatever works. But I still breastfeed, but not that much because my son's kind of older now. And just recently, the past 6 months or so, I started going longer periods of time because I was always concerned before, like, if I don't breastfeed within 24 hours or less or something, I'm not going to have a supply. And now there's been probably, I would say, about 10 times where I've gone 48 hours or without anything, and then he's able to still eat, and I can tell I still have milk. But it's something like I'm always scared, like what if I go too long and then I wasn't ready to like completely stop and he wasn't ready and that wasn't the plan. I just went a little too long. And I've actually only pumped one time because there was one time where he was out of town with his dad for 5 days and I was here. And that was the only time I waited like probably 50 hours or something from his last feed, and then I pumped a few times till he came back. So I guess my question is like, do you have any guidance? Because all I've seen online is like it depends how much your baby eats and how much you're producing if you'll still have a supply. But I'm just like, how long is too long? If you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think it does depend on each person because everybody's supply is going to be different, and there are some people that have an oversupply and there are some people that may not, be able to produce as much. I think it's amazing that you still have a supply after going those few days. And I want to say even after sometimes after a week, sometimes people can still get milk out. So it really is just dependent on your body. And because he's eating more for comfort, not for nutrition, also, it's not like he needs to get full off of it. So he's probably getting just enough of what your body's producing, So I can't give you a definite answer because I think that varies, but I will say if you probably went a little bit longer than 2 days, I think you'd be okay. But yeah, but also I can't guarantee what that looks like for your body.
Okay.
Yeah. You had a question, right?
Thank you.
You had a question? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking if we had time, but
Yeah.
one question I had was, so my baby is now 4 months. And so in thinking about that transition where he's starting to sleep longer, hopefully,
Yeah.
my worry is about night weaning. And I know some people say it doesn't affect your supply, but I've had friends who've said it did affect their supply. And so I'm curious, just from your perspective, working with your clients, if you've noticed that night feed is really essential for kind of maintaining kind of a supply going forward.
Yeah, I think it can be. And so if that is a fear of yours or concern, I would say to reduce a daytime feed because you're doing more daytime releasing or, pumping or feeding than you are the nighttime. So I would say to reduce the nighttime feed. I have had moms who were like, oh, I slept 6 hours this time and I'm okay with that, and their supply was still the same. Once again, I can't guarantee that your body would produce that amount, but if the nighttime is your concern, I would reduce 1 day feed, at least one.
That's helpful because right now we're working on the associations like you talked about.
Okay.
So it's just less feeding. He's still waking up, but
Yeah.
that's the goal. And so trying to maintain the supply is important.
You could also try like a dream feed too. Sometimes I do that with postpartum babies when I'm with them, and I'll do that around usually I'm not with them past 3 months, but if they do tend to wake up and eat or they are good sleepers, sometimes topping them off with 2 ounces while they're kind of still kind of sleepy will let them stay asleep. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. You have a question?
I'll let her go first before mine.
Thank you. I have 2 questions, and one's very related to what we were just talking about. My baby's currently 5 months old. Since 3 months hit, before 3 months, he used to sleep very well. He would sleep about 5 hours, and I was like, wow, my baby's so easy.
Yeah.
And then that 3-month hit. It's crazy. He wakes up about somewhere between every 45 minutes to an hour and a half. He still does it. He would. I thought this would help, But anyways, so I've let him cry and waited, but the only thing that would calm him down and make him go back to sleep is to nurse him. He doesn't take the pacifier either. And when he does suck, it does really feel like he's eating. He's not just comfort sucking, he's very strongly sucking. Yeah. Is that common? Have you heard of anything like this before? And do you have any recommendations?
Yeah, I think it's very common at any point for babies to kind of digress to a different phase, unfortunately, because I feel like that's all of of parenthood is we get used to like things being one way and we master something and then they're like, psych, gotcha. I'm waking up every hour now. So I would say if you feel like he is actually getting something from those nursing sessions, then he probably needs it. And maybe when you do feed him, how long are you feeding him for usually during those sessions?
At night, about 15
Okay,
minutes.
so I'd say like 15 to 25 minutes. Are you only doing one side or both sides?
Depends on how full I feel. But
Okay.
sometimes I switch, going back and forth.
And he doesn't have like any reflux issue.
No.
That's good. So I would say if you wanted to, you can try feeding on both sides and seeing if you get a longer stretch of sleep for him.
Okay.
And I ask for reflux because I've had babies that they'll feed and I have to keep them upright for like 45 minutes and I wasn't trying to make your life harder.
No, he
So-
he sit down. So
Okay, yeah, see if that helps. I know that what he was doing before was the most ideal and it was easier, but I think
Okay.
right now he might, and it could be a growth spurt of some
Okay.
sort. So how long would you say he's kind of been going through or kind of digressing from what he was doing before?
Well, since he hit the 3 months, it just changed completely, and it's been the same until 5 months old.
Oh, okay. So it's been a
Yeah,
while.
and
Okay.
it was. I remember the exact day he stopped sleeping through the night.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other question I have is, so I'm going back to the office in 3 weeks.
Okay.
I'm very nervous about my supplies.
Yeah.
But anyways, what you were mentioning is to start from the old supply first, like frozen stash first.
Yeah.
I've also read on the internet that if you're pumping at work, you want to give that pumped milk the next day to give it the most nutrition benefit. What are your stance on that? Do you think we should go with the frozen or the one from before?
It's hard to say because she's asking if the milk that she pumps, if she feeds her baby the milk that she pumps on the same day, is it more nutritious than the milk that she gets from her stash, her stored frozen stash? And so it's interesting because if someone said like, if their stash was from the first couple of weeks of birth, I'd say, oh, that's probably, you definitely want to use that more. It depends on how long you want to have this nursing journey for. Like, do you plan on, because if you do plan on going back full time, I would say to start with that stash because that stash is technically it's going to get old faster. And then you can start, I'm not saying don't give any of that fresh milk to the baby, depending on how they're eating, but also you don't want any of that other milk to kind of go to waste. And also, if there is milk that is older, you can bathe your baby in the milk. If there's like cradle cap, any rashes, anything, you can definitely use breast milk for all of those things. So it doesn't always, say for instance, like the bottle has been sitting out a little bit longer. We're going to pour that in the bath and just use it for, their skin. So yeah, you're welcome. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
It's so mixed on the internet. So.
I know. And that's the other thing I wanted to mention. The internet is it's a lot. Yeah. And it'll send you down a rabbit hole of feeling like you're not doing enough. You're not doing it right. Maybe I should try this. And so nobody can like tell you what's working for you is for you. And what works for you may not work for me. And what works for me may not work for you. But like, a lot of it is trial and error too. But if we go to the internet and we're like, I'm going to try this, this, and this, it just creates so much pressure on yourself. You feel like you're not doing something right or you need to do more. No, you have everything that your baby needs. And so just staying diligent in a routine and a process that creates ease for your life and for you and your household is like the ultimate thing.
Can we clap up for that? That's no, seriously, that's so good.
So I have two questions. One is you were talking about, just washing the baby's stuff in, warm water and soap. Is Dr. Bronner's, I know it has like oils and stuff in it. Like, is that a good soap? Is there a particular soap that you would use?
Yeah.
And then the other question is, I just saw an advertisement for people who have like so much breast milk in the freezer and don't have enough room. You can actually send the breast milk in and they'll dry your breast milk for you with the dates and everything. And you'll have dried milk like formula. And so it won't get old. You can just put it in, shake it up, and then they literally dry your milk for you.
Wow.
So those are my two questions.
Okay. Well, the second one, What, that was a question? I thought that was.
Well,
I thought you were schooling
I
me.
never heard of it before.
I've never heard of
And
that either.
I was like, is that a thing? Like,
I've
is
never
that
heard of that.
legit?
It's a new thing.
Okay. Yeah, they basically turn your breast milk into formula, like
Oh,
powder it
interesting.
down like you would dry any other food.
I've
So-
never heard. Yeah, I've never heard that. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna look into that too.
Okay.
And then
the type of soap.
Oh yes.
And is it okay to use vinegar in the soap?
So I've never used either of those. I know like Dawn soap is okay because that's kind of like a degreaser that
Okay.
can help. I usually, there's also another one. I can't think of the name of it. It's like a bottle washing soap and it has a, yes, it has a pink,
What's it
pink,
called?
pump.
Dapple.
Yes, I
So great. All the moms in the room.
I know.
They were like, we
She
got
knows
you,
exactly
girl.
what I was talking about. That's my go-to. Usually, like before I start working with a postpartum client, I'll kind of like gift them that. Some of the things that I feel like people won't
think about.
Yeah, and so those are the ones that I'll kind of go to. I know Dr. Bronner's is supposed to be good for everything. I just can't.
But that's why I asked, because you can brush your teeth with it.
Oh, I won't.
don't know if.
I wouldn't do that.
Oh no, they like it, it
Try that
says you can do
peppermint.
your laundry, you can wash
I know.
products, you can do anything with it. So I just wanted to know if it was bottle safe.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you probably could, but
Because this cast
I've
out, so
never
I
had
just
it.
wanted to ask.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if that works, if you try it and it works, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
I have not obviously tried
Soon.
but
Yeah,
I just want to know beforehand because I'm definitely that person that prepares for every situation before, so I don't have to be like
Yeah.
scrambling.
Well, but even with that, like you can prepare. Oh, sorry. You can prepare for all of the things, and I think just as a mother, you in some ways have to just be okay with being flexible. Like that didn't work. Now it's time to do something different and be okay with that, right? So
Right.
it's all about like doing what works for you.
Okay.
So prepare for sure, but then also be open to changing if something doesn't work.
Right.
You know? But I love
I
that
just
you're
don't want to
here.
not know.
Yes, yes.
That it, you know.
And there's a such thing as having too much information too, right?
Yeah.
Getting overwhelmed. So
Yeah.
just take it in little bite size and you know, it's gonna be all good.
Okay.
It's gonna be all good.
Yeah. Try something and it's like,
Didn't work for me, yeah. I think we have time for like 2 more questions. Yes, we can go on and pass it back. Whose phone's quacking?
Hello. Thank you so much for taking more questions. So I've been breastfeeding my 7-month-old, and I haven't been pumping nearly as much as I did because I feel like my body doesn't react to the pumps well. I have a couple different kinds, including the one that's right next to you right there. And I get such a small amount from pumping, it's really like defeating, you know, because I know when she eats, she gets full, and I can feel that, and everything's fine, and she's getting enough milk to eat. But I'm trying to, you know, build up. I've depleted a lot of my stash from the time when she's teething and she doesn't want to nurse because it hurts her. So I have to use up what I have in there, and it's important for when I'm working my husband to be able to give her a bottle, yada yada. But we're running real low. Sorry, I mean it's the truth, right? We're running a little low, and I only have about 2 Ziploc bags full of those little whatever bags that they give you with that left, which isn't great. So I was just wondering if there's like something I can do to make the pumping equal what she gets, because she gets food, like she's solid and she gains weight and everything, so I know she's eating.
she's looking like,
She's like, "Are you sure about that?" She was like, "Yeah, thanks, Mom. We're good." So that's my question: is there a way to like, I don't know, what am I doing wrong? I guess it's not that you can know my
you
exact
want to
situation.
like increase your supply.
I don't need to increase my supply. I just don't know
pumping?
how to get the pump to react the same way
Yeah.
as she does.
So sometimes lactation consultants will recommend doing power pump sessions.
Sure.
To try. Have you ever tried that?
Yeah,
It's a
definitely.
lot of work.
Yeah, but I'm open to it.
And
I'm not
did you
against
see
it.
any type of increase?
Very minimal.
Yeah. See, and that's the tricky thing.
The
is
most
like,
I've ever gotten is 4 ounces from both together.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And then how long after that did you? Is that from like the whole day or?
No, but in one time.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the power pumping sessions is like multiple times throughout the day, and seeing how much you get from that entire day.
Yeah.
They usually don't recommend to do that more than a few days, just because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I had a mom that was like, I don't want to pump because I don't want to create an oversupply.
Sure.
But if you're
I'm not against it.
Exactly. And you could do it, and maybe it has an adverse effect, and maybe it might not increase, but I think trying to do that for maybe 2 or 3 days and seeing how your body reacts to it.
When they eat frequently, how do you recommend fitting, like, when would you, I guess, say is the ideal time to pump in between? Because right now she eats about every hour and a half. So there's
that's going to be hard. That's why you don't have any milk.
Yeah. Well, I get up in the middle of the night to do it while she's sleeping. So anytime she sleeps more than 2 hours, I get up myself and I pump during those times, but I'm getting like 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces. And I'm like, well, that was a waste of my midnight. You know what I mean? I could be sleeping right now. Right, exactly. I know that, but that's the problem. Like, I'm like mentally, I'm like, which is better? I don't know. I have the wearable and the Spectra, yeah.
Yeah. I put one of them on the food that he wasn't sucking on, and so that way he was stimulating the output.
Oxytocin for it.
Oh,
That's
and
a good idea.
Settings until I found what worked.
That is a smart idea.
Variable because she eats so much, you're not gonna
Right.
That's what I was wondering. Like,
yeah,
what am I
that's
supposed
good.
to do this?
That's
great.
When other moms answer.
Yeah.
It's like so great when we all get together. So thank you for.
I will take anybody's advice. I'm not against anything. I will take it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, both of you, all of you.
Yeah, thank you.
With one last one, and then we'll let you network with one another, and then touch and feel and see all the amazing Momcozy products, and of course, come up to Bree and chat or chat with me. So, do we have another one? Another question?
I just want to say thank you all for showing up with a big smile on your face. And thank you for being so engaging.
Yes,
you guys
give
are
yourself
awesome.
a round of applause, right? Because we know it's like hard to get out of the house anyway, but like with babies or if you're pregnant, there's a lot happening. So I'm sure that you all went through a lot to get here. So we're so happy that you came. We'll take, if there's any one last one, we'll go. And if not, we'll release you to get some snacks and touch and feel and ask any questions. So going once, going twice? No? All right, we're good. I would love for everyone to thank Momcozy for allowing us to be here and to get our questions answered. Give them a round of applause. And we hope to see you again. We do these every month. There's different topics, and so I'll be hosting and I'll welcome you with open arms. And so stay connected, stay close. I would love for you to follow Brianna. She's on Instagram under Kaleidoscope Mama, okay? And you can follow me at Natalie Goucher, and we'll Kaleidoscope, correct? Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we thank you for coming, and you are free to chat and to see all of the things here in this beautiful room. So thank you again, ladies.
Thank you.
Perfect. Right on time.
Yeah, you guys are just being up there.
Listen, I know. I get it.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love working with you, Anthony. You're the best.